You're listening to WICR, Iona College Radio.
Welcome back for the third segment of the day of The Rock is On. I am your host, The Rock, and we're still going to talk about football, and now we're going to get into the other New York team and the New York Football Giants. In Big Blue, Sunday was a bummer loss, I can say. It was a bummer loss to an 0-2 team, or a winless team at the time, a division rival in the Washington Redskins. And you know what? In a way, after this game, you kind of, whether you're a Giant fan or even a football fan, and you can say, I think it's safe to say that after this game, the Giants were pretenders. Pretenders. Not contenders, pretenders. Now, I know it's only the third game of the year, but you know what? If you're a good team, if you're a good, solid football team, you got to take advantage of the opportunities you get. And you got to beat the teams that you are better than. Now, are the Washington Redskins a terrible team? No, they're a tough team. They play tough. They have playmakers. They have Deshaun Jackson, Jordan Reed, Pierre Garçon. They have guys that can burn the secondaries and get into the end zone. And Kirk Cousins, he's a hit or miss. 1 week he's doing great. He'll throw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 400 plus yards. Next week he'll throw 4 picks in a blowout loss. Inconsistent. But you know what? Last week, the Giants had a golden opportunity to pretty much put a nail in the coffin for the Redskins. Put them really behind the 8 ball. I wouldn't say nail in the coffin, but at least put them behind the 8 ball. Because let's say the Giants, if they had won, they would have been 3-0. 3 games up on the Redskins. Actually, 4 because you would have had 3 games up in the standings and then the head-to-head tiebreaker. So in a way, it's like 4 games. And you would have built some momentum going in the next 2 games because you're going on the road against 2 quality teams at the Vikings who are playing flat out phenomenally, who are playing lights out with their defense and the emergence of Sam Bradford when he's healthy. And then you got to go to Lambeau Field, the Columbus Day weekend, which is a primetime game. So because the Viking game is a Monday night game, and then the Packer game is a Sunday night for Week 5. So you're playing 2 quality teams in prime time. And you know what? You could have been. Let's say the Giants were to lose those 2 games and they beat the Redskins. You would have been 3-2. Okay, you know what? They had a rough patch, but I think you would figure they have some confidence going into the next few games. But you know what? When you lose to a team that's, I wouldn't say at best, or I would say at best, equally as you, that's kind of similar to you, you're a pretender. And also, if you're a Giant fan, this has to irk you. It has to get under your skin. It makes you want to pull your hair out and go crazy. Is that they can't keep their composure. The players can't keep their composure. It's football. It's football. You're going to get hit. Guys are going to chirp. Guys are going to talk smack, lack of a better term. They're going to say things that are going to get under your skin. They want it psychologically. They're trying to get to you. You can't let them get to you. Because if you let them get to you, they win. They win. You know what? And when I say the Giants, all the Giants can't keep their composure. And especially the OBJ. Now, OBJ, don't get me wrong, he's a talent. He's one of the most talented guys in the NFL. And at least one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL, if he's not the best. Very athletic, very elusive, can make acrobatic catches, the whole 9 yards. But if OBJ wants to be a leader on this team for this year and for the future and going forward, he's got to keep his composure. Because I'm watching on the game on Sunday, and he's like he's pouting because Norman said something, or one of the Redskin players got to him or said something. He's pouting. He's screaming. And if you saw the image, I think he was even crying. He was tearing up a little. Weakness. Pure weakness right there. And then I think what made it worse is that he threw his helmet. If you saw the play, he threw his helmet or like kind of like smacked his helmet or slammed his helmet towards the kicking net for the kickers use, and the neck just came falling right on him. Which I'm sure it's probably a meme and it's a social media meme by now. But you know what? The Giant, he's got to keep his composure. I know it's it's only his third year in the league, but he's got to be a leader for that Giant team. And also, where's McIndoe or where's Eli trying to calm him down? Where are those guys? I understand football is an emotional game and it gets very tense though, but you know what? You gotta keep your composure because you're gonna do something stupid and idiotic and it's gonna cost your team the victory. Composure's probably what's going to. It's so underrated. It gets underlooked because in a way, if you keep your composure, or guys who don't keep their composure, that's what wins and lose football games. It doesn't get talked about. Doesn't get talked about as much. Sure, you can get into the X's and O's saying, oh, we got to do this offensively. We got to do that defensively. It's composure. It's composure. And another incident that happened with the Giants is, I forgot if they were winning at the time or they were trailing. I forgot which one it was. But they had the Redskins were deep in their own territory. It was 4th down. They were going to punt. And the punt gets blocked. The punt gets blocked. Special teams came through. And the Giants were going to have the ball within the Redskin 20-yard line or something. It was something like that. Or within the 20-yard line. Within the 10, 20-yard line of the Redskins. But you know what? After the conclusion of that play, I forgot the guy's name. He was a rookie. He did some boneheaded move. He pushed the guy, and he was talking all this smack, trying to get in his face and all. And guess what happened? The punt got the punt blocked, or the block punt was neglected. Didn't count. So they repunted it. And you know, and that's what I said. Composure is what's going to win and lose you football games in the National Football League. It is. Whether you like it or not, it's going to win you or lose. It's going to either win you the game or lose you the game. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know, because when you have your star wide receiver acting up, throwing temper tantrums, throwing his helmet at the kicking net, yelling and screaming, you know. And then not to mention on the final drive when even though the Giants, despite what they had to go through, had an opportunity, a golden opportunity to still win the game, couldn't manage it because Odell Beckham Jr. made a stupid asinine play, pass interference call, where I think it was to Cruz. They were on the left side of the sideline. He went out of bounds, but they called it back because it was like it was a blatant hit. And then, you know, and then also you got to think, and then also another thing I want to mention is Eli played horribly. He played absolutely horrible. Now, did he make some good throws? Yes, he did. But you know what? He threw 2 interceptions, and Eli's notorious for doing this. And I'm not going to disparage him or deprive him from what he's accomplished, because I think he's the best quarterback the Giants have ever had in the history of the franchise. I'd put him first and then Phil Simms second. But you know, if you're Eli, you can't make boneheaded interceptions. Like, you can't throw in the end zone when the defender's right in front of the wide receiver, or your wide receiver, the guy you're throwing it to. You can't do that, because that cost them. That could have been, even if let's say they didn't get a touchdown and they got a field goal in that situation, it probably would have changed the whole momentum or would have changed the whole complexion of the game. And then on the final drive, when you're just trying to force it in to a guy that's double covered, come on. That's something I expect from my the quarterback from my team, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, or even Brett Favre when he played. But and also one last thing, and now it just occurred to me: where was the defense? Where was the defense making stops, making plays? They were giving up huge bombs. They gave up 2 huge bombs. They gave it up to Crowder. Couldn't tackle him. I don't know if he put some not stick 'em, but like some spray, what they used back in the day. So it's like when guys try to grab you, you would just slip right off. Or they was just, what I don't even know what it was. Horrendous tackling on that part. And then you had Deshaun Jackson beat you. And Deshaun Jackson, even back in his Philly days, would always kill the Giants. Always kill the Giants. And let's let's not forget that game back in 2010 when the Giants were playing the Eagles and they had that 3-touchdown lead and the Eagles scored 4 touchdowns in like 7 minutes. And Deshaun Jackson scored the game-winning touchdown on a punt return after Tom Coughlin told the punter at the time, kick it out of bounds. We'll play for overtime. But the guy kicks it in bounds. It was a high snap. Kicks it in bounds. Deshaun Jackson returns it for a touchdown. Tom Coughlin's irate. He's furious. He's slamming the clipboard down. Absolutely disgusted because that probably cost him the division that year. Or that game cost him the division that year. The Giants, they need a wake-up call, and they need it now. Because if you're a good team, you don't lose to teams that are just as equally as you or a step below you. You got to take advantage of those teams. Now, if this was the Packers or, say, even the Panthers, and you lost to them and it was a hard-fought battle, then you know what? You said you can build some confidence saying, you know what? We didn't win the game, but we can play with these guys. We can play with the elite teams in the NFL. And let's just see what happens these next 2 games. Because if they get a split out of this, let's say if they get a split out of this, you got to be pounding your fist saying, man, if we had won that Redskin game, or the game against the Redskins, could have been 4-1. But let's see what happens. And that concludes this 3rd segment of The Rock is On.